it's happening on the 1st of July. We couldn't do it last week, but better late than never at all. My name is Nathan Kwa. I'm your moderator for the session. Now, this month we are talking AI. AI has been dominating a lot of the conversations. So we want to ask ourselves whether there is a case for AI-powered learning in Ghana when looking at the future of Edtech in Ghana. But for context, if you are listening to us for the very first time and you're asking yourself what Edtech Monday is, a platform for Edtech entrepreneurs, education stakeholders, and government reps to facilitate critical conversations on the use of technology for teaching and learning. And the show is an initiative of the Mastercard Foundation's Regional Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning in ICT. And it's part of the foundation's strategy to find solutions to Africa's youth employment by closing the gap in access to quality education. So we have this lovely forum called Edtech Monday, and it's brought to us by the Mastercard Foundation. They've partnered with MEST Africa to bring you this wonderful program, and it is on the last Monday of every month, and we are live on the City Breakfast Show. But if you don't have a radio near you, you can go online and watch us live on Facebook via City 97.3 FM or MEST Africa's Facebook page. I have a wonderful panel today. I've got Rashida Musa, who's an AI integration specialist. I've got Joseph Fabian Ayitevi, he's CEO Cognitive AI Technology. He's joining us via Zoom. Ethel Kofi is board chair of the Ghana Government ICT Sector Skills. I'm sure it's a very familiar name. She has a very familiar name in this space. I have Ike J. Mensah, who is CEO and co-founder of Deaf Can Talk. And I have you for joining us. What exactly do you do? It says here you are CEO and co-founder of Deaf Can Talk. What is Deaf Can Talk?
Nathan, thank you very much. Let me say a very good morning. Good morning to your listeners and those watching us via Facebook. My name is Ike J. Mensah. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Deaf Can Talk. So Nathan, there is a paradigm shift for deaf students, moving from a segregated educational setup where they use the sign language for the teaching and learning process. They spend virtually 16 good years, basic school, primary school, junior high school, senior high school. Then they move to the tertiary educational system where they are introduced to a mainstream setup where lecturers no longer use the sign language. Their peers or classmates are not deaf or hard of hearing people. They cannot communicate with the sign language. So how do they assess education?
Okay.
How do they take lesson notes? How do they engage in useful group studies with their peers? There we come in.
Okay.
So with Deaf Can Talk, our solution leverages machine learning algorithm and AI, said that once the lecturer speaks in this classroom, the algorithm picks the spoken language of the lecturer, transcribes, converts it into a text for these deaf students to access. And at the same time, it saves it for them, thereby serving as what is called a note-taking tool for them for future reference. Then more importantly, with the same model, they are able to communicate with their hearing peers. Now, once they access the text and then the text back, the algorithm picks the text back into spoken language for their peers to also, understand what they are saying. But don't forget, when it comes to education, it's not just the classroom, outside the classroom as well. Two weeks ago, I had the opportunity to meet stakeholders within the educational setup and MOE and GS, and they are saying that we find ourselves under two of the divisions. That's SPUD, Special Education Division, and SHARE, which is Student Health Program. So if the deaf student wants to access the clinic or the hospital, on campus and outside campus, how are they able to diagnose them properly and understand the exact challenge that they have brought? So with the same algorithm or the same procedure, they are able to communicate with the health practitioners on campus.
Wonderful. And you're here with Esther. Esther Makofi is a student, Presbyterian College of Education. She has a hearing challenge, but she can communicate using the app. Maybe we should experiment.
Right? All this while she's following the conversation.
I see. The app. That's wonderful. Esther, hi, good morning. How are you?
My name is Esther Kofi.
Okay. And what do you like to do for fun?
Hi, I'm Finn.
Okay. For our listeners, okay. Wonderful. For our listeners, apologies for the silence. She's trying to employ the app, so internet it's lags a little. Um, Finally, Esther, let's talk about some of the challenges you face if you have to communicate with your friends, your family, your classmates, your teachers. What are some of the challenges you face?
I find it hard to communicate with them due to communicate barriers.
I see. And finally, is there anything you want to share with our listeners about being somebody with a hearing challenge?
I want them to know that being deaf is not a curse.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So that's how the
Look at a quick one. So for the first time, a deaf person or a deaf student is able to communicate with a hearer without involving a sign language translator, reducing the cost involved. And also this becomes a pocket communicator for the deaf person. So it means it's not going to miss anything that you say or you are doing. So simple.
Wonderful. Joseph Fabian, ITVC of Cognitive AI Technology, he's joining us on Zoom. Joseph, can you hear me? If you can, good morning. Welcome to Edtech Monday.
Good morning to you. And
hello, Joseph, can you hear me?
Listeners. Yes, I can hear you. Hello?
Hello, Joseph, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
We'll try and work the line and get to Joseph. Let me bring Rashida. Rashida, thank you so much for joining us. You haven't said anything. You are an AI integration specialist. What does that mean? What do you do?
So what I do, first of all, sorry, good morning to everyone, to your listeners, to those checking in on Facebook. Yes, like you said, my name is Rashida Musa, and I'm the CEO and founder of Rema.
Okay.
And what we do at Rema is we help professionals and corporations strategically implement AI solutions into their operations to help improve their operations. We use education as the vehicle for AI adoption. So we host workshops, training sessions, seminars to help understand practically how to use these tools. Yes.
Wonderful. Sounds like fun stuff. But let me throw the question to you and maybe Ethel or Joseph. Let's talk about the opportunities for collaboration between edtech companies, education institutions, and stakeholders, especially ones that AI-powered learning could help address. So what are the opportunities for all these entities in this space? Rashida, let me start with you and then we can go to Ethel.
I believe the opportunities are profound, immensely profound, and every day we're finding new ways to integrate artificial intelligence into the education system. When I talk about AI, especially in an African context, and making sure that AI represents us equitably, I didn't think about individuals like Esther. I was thinking about our elders who can't even speak English. But imagine you're using this tool, it only works in English, right? Once you start to communicate with a seller who can only speak Tree or Fanti, that's it. The tool doesn't work anymore. So I believe that the ways that we can integrate it are incredibly immense. We haven't even touched the surface, but we always have to make sure that an African context is included in the conversation. We can't just use these tools in English.
I see. So we need to try and localize them a bit more. Ethel, I don't know if you have anything to share.
Well, for me, I suppose my job as chair of the sector skills, the ICT sector skills body, my thinking is from two sides, right? So I worry very much about ensuring that we have curriculums that enable us to bring along the next generation of developers, the next generation of people that will be building the apps, building the things that we'll be using to integrate AI with the educational sector. That's one side. And also the conversation about infrastructure. And that's where your question comes in. So how can we begin to use AI to ensure that the infrastructure of learning is easier? And my thinking has always been that we worry a lot about sort of internet and that sort of, because AI, people say, but AI is up there. We have mathematical and science and those kind of issues. But my take here is that we can always leverage the complexity of AI, but deliver it in simple, sustainable ways, like they're doing with the app. Or
Take
you
the
can
complexity of AI and then
the
deliver it
simplicity,
in-
yes. And you can
Mm.
even deliver it by USSD, whatever at the back end. So my take is that AI can even be used in the remotest areas, but we need to be able to connect the complexity of using the artificial intelligence and the simplicity of delivering solutions.
Wonderful, wonderful, great. I love that. Let me stay with Ethel, and I'll bring Esther in. Let's talk about AI and education for underserved communities, or I can expand and say those who are underprivileged, those who have one challenge or the other. How can we get AI to help make education more inclusive for all these people to ensure that everybody has equal access to quality learning resources?
Answering the question of equal access is a very, very hard question. But I think in the end, AI allows us to automate and personalize learning experiences, right? I'll give you a read. I have toddlers, and they are currently in the process of learning to read. And one of the things that I've done one of the things I began to do when they started to learn to read was to ask ChatGPT, okay, give me 3-letter word. First of all, I asked ChatGPT design, because we got, the kindergarten, we got a report card back. And I plugged into ChatGPT and I said, hey, this is my 4-year-old, this is their report card. Can you design me a program to teach them at home so that the places where they're not doing well, we can pick up. AI gave me a really good design. And then we use that, and it's reading daily, that sort of thing. And then I used AI because now they can good enough 3-letter words. I said, AI, here is a store of the words they can read. Can you develop a few letters and a few stories, reading book stories at 4-year-old level? And then we use the illustrator to illustrate a few things. And then you print it out, and that's reading for the night. So there is a lot of ways in which AI can be employed to personalize the education experience, be it whether the child is in East Legon or whether they're in the northern region. But you have to think about how we can take the complexity but deliver the solutions simply to our students.
Wonderful. Esther, same question. How do you think AI can help make education more inclusive for people like you or students who have one challenge or the other when it comes to learning?
AI like Deep Can Talk app can help deaf people to overcome communicate barriers and make education more accessible for them.
Okay, wonderful. So at least we've highlighted the fact that AI in itself is a great tool. So as I mentioned, the Deaf Can Talk app, which is a great tool for people who have hearing challenges or speaking challenges. Yeah, so you talk about, I like that, the thing you say about the complexity of AI and using it to deliver that. Let me bring you in. I don't know what thoughts you have on AI as a tool helping to make education a bit more inclusive for everybody, irrespective of where they are or what challenge they may face.
Yeah, I think the advent of AI is a great thing for the entire world. Trying to solve cumbersome situations, things that human beings may find very difficult to solve. So the most important thing is for us to identify the gaps. What are the challenges? And many a time people are creating solutions without identifying what the challenge is. They're just creating for creating purpose. And so 2 weeks ago, I had opportunity to meet stakeholders within the Ghana education sector. We met MWE, Ministry of Education, represented by Kinsley at the time, and Mr. Fakon was coming from GS, Semlos was there, GSET was there. And we're interested to know that the system has an ESP, that's Education Strategic Plan that spans between 2018 to 2030. And they are letting us know some of the challenges within these areas. So the first thing is the challenge. What are the challenges? The person with a visual impairment, how are they able to type? is a major challenge over the years. We are finding solutions to it. The person with hearing impairment, how are they able to communicate? How are they, when you look at the barriers when it comes to the deaf person, is the communication barrier. Once there is no communication barrier, the deaf person is no longer a deaf person. The deaf person is an able person. And so I think AI has come to help us to step up our game and actually do the right thing or solve some of these challenges. Barely a year ago, I was in this program, and then Edtech was there. And thanks, Edtech was there because she identified my solution. She was a judge for this program, and she identified my solution to be a breakthrough. And then afterwards, here we are solving problems that is helping people with hearing disabilities.
I see, wonderful. So it's very interesting. So from the responses, again, seeing that AI is a tool is very critical for its success. You need to see it as a tool, then identify the challenges, and then figure out how to use all those complex things to solve challenges that people have. Let me get to the Zoom. Let me bring Joseph Fabian, the CEO of Cognitive AI Technologies. I don't know if he can hear me now. Joseph, if you can hear me, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Edtech Monday.
Thank you very much. I can hear you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Before we get into what I want you to answer, just a few seconds on what you do at Cognitive AI Technologies, and then I can ask you your question.
Oh, thank you very much. I am Joseph Fabian, ITV, an AI engineer, and then the CEO of Cognitive AI Technologies. Our primary objective is to provide training for professionals and develop practical solutions to real-time challenges faced by industries and enterprises. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I want you to answer this for me. How does AI compare to traditional teaching methods, and how can AI-powered platforms enhance teacher effectiveness and student engagement in the classroom? And then how can AI prep students for future careers, especially in Ghana? I know it's a loaded question, so we can take it in chunks. So first, how does AI compare to traditional teaching methods?
Thank you very much for this insightful question. For the sake of our listeners, let me just do a little introduction. AI refers to any technique that enable machines to mimic human cognitive or brains. The areas of AI include supervised learning, unsupervised learning, deep learning, neural networks, large language models, computer vision, and machine learning. And let me just go straight to your question.
Okay.
AI and education. Partnership in EdTech using AI offers exciting possibilities, including personalized learning with adaptive platforms, intelligent tutoring system, increased accessibility for underserved communities, bridging the skill gap by aligning curriculum with workforce needs, leverage data for deeper insight into learning, and then develop strong, productive models for students. Thank you.
Wonderful. And then I wanted to find out if you could, the other part of the question was, how can AI prepare students for future careers in Ghana? What can AI do to help students get ready for the next chapter of their lives when they are done with school and they have to go on and work?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for this insightful question. Developing large language models that showcase Ghanaian success stories and entrepreneurial challenges can be a very powerful tool. Just imagine, for instance, students learning about Kwame Nkrumah's museum architectural framework and its relevance. And then another example is that the journey of successful business, including their challenges, early wins, failure, strategies, and sustainability plans. This information will definitely made accessible at the click of a button can incredibly inspiring the guide and students towards developing something meaningful from their education. Thank you.
All right, Joseph, thank you so much. I will get back to you with another question, so just stay on. And let me come back in studio. My guests are still here. I've got Ethel. Ethel is still here. Ethel Kofi, board chair of the Ghana Government ICT Sector Skills. Rashida Musa is still here. She's an AI integration specialist. She works with Rayma. Joseph Fabian, ITV on the Zoom. Ika James, a CEO and founder of Deaf Can Talk, and Esther Kofi, student, Presbyterian College of Education. We are having a nice little chat on a Monday morning as part of Edtech Monday. We are discussing the future of Edtech in Ghana, and we're asking whether there's a case for AI-powered learning. Ethel and Rashida, let me ask you, let's talk about ethical considerations and the potential risks associated with integrating AI into education. Yes,
Yeah.
you can go.
Well, Rashida just started there. No, I think there is, with any new technology, that we don't fully understand, because we're now figuring out the capabilities and how far AI can go. And we've also seen that sometimes AI might not be consistent, right? Or might not give you, because even ChatGPT will tell you sometimes they say AI hallucinates, right?
Yes.
So sometimes it gives you answers that are incorrect or scenarios that might not exist. And so because we have not fully explored that, there's always worries of, if we are leaving it with kids and we're using it to teach kids, which is why I always said AI is not taking the job of a teacher away. It is augmenting the job of a teacher. It's supporting the teacher, because you still need the human, because we haven't figured out end to end. There is also, as with any type of tech, there is always ensuring that people are using it for the good of humanity and not just for pushing boundaries that we're not supposed to push. We've seen it with the AI companies. For instance, we have a standard in the web community that says that if I put a certain text on my website, it means AI or even Google should not crawl it or scrap for the website. But the AI companies are doing it, even though it's something we've agreed on. So there are ethical issues about the people building AI, the character around it, which is why it's important. One of the things this week, actually, there is a team of 7 experts and 4 people from academia that are sitting in Cape Coast today that are starting the process of designing HND for AI. I was supposed to be there. I will show up on Wednesday, but anybody listening, so why I thought it's not there. But part of that curriculum is a big chunk, because I wrote the scope of the curriculum. Part of that is that ethical considerations, what we should be thinking in terms of morality and ethics in designing solutions. How far, it's the same thing as when, like, algorithms on Instagram.
Yes.
Right? Teenagers should not be looking at it, because again, it might be pushing content that they may like but are not useful to them. And those are things that we must teach, and which is why we're doing it, even though we are teaching, how to develop AI, all those things. Underneath that, legal and ethical implications, because the people who will be building systems need to think about the human being and the good of society while they're building those solutions.
Wonderful, Rashida.
I completely agree with the same sentiments as Ethel here. I think a lot of the issues that, the ethical issues that plague us right here in Ghana is that, first of all, there's going to be an over-reliance on these systems. Students are going to grow up using these systems to write their essays, and they're not going to understand how to write a proper essay on their own. And then another thing is, there are communities here in Ghana that don't have internet, that don't have computers. So you're going to have a generation where it's completely segmented. Some are going to grow up with AI and some are not. And, touching on data as well, right now, there's a race between the top AI tech companies to having the best large language model.
Yeah.
And right now, the practice is the more data, the better the model. And so where are they getting this data from? That's where we need to think. ChatGPT, which we all love and use every day, has notoriously used data from banned subreddits. And if anyone knows what Reddit is, it's just a forum for sometimes.
People share opinions.
Exactly.
Some of them are fact-based.
Exactly. Some of it is not fact-based. Some of it is just absolutely horrendous, sexist, racist, ableist, everything. So even if Reddit says this data is not appropriate for our platform, why are these tech companies using this data to train their models, right? So we have to think about that as well. So I believe that when it comes to these ethical considerations, the government needs to come in and set a standard for what AI models are actually deployed for our children. Because, you could right now, for instance, Midjourney, which is a AI image generating tool. If you type beautiful woman, a white woman comes first, and second, and third, and fourth, and fifth.
Yeah.
But I am in a room right now with some beautiful African Black women. So what is that going to teach our young children when they start using these image generating tools and they want to do beautiful woman and they don't see themselves, or successful woman, career woman? Does an African woman come first or second or third? So those are things that we need to think about. ImageNet, which is the largest data set that was used to build these AI models for computer vision, has 14 million images, and only 2% are of African African data.
Wow.
Yeah.
14 million.
Yes, and only 2%.
And only 2%.
Yes. I'm gonna need ChatGPT to do the math. 2%, 14 million.
My brain is trying to do the math, but
I'm like, let me draw
that's
the line.
very small.
Grossly. So what does that mean, right? So we're not just thinking about education, because AI, yes, sure, you can use it in the schools, but once you step out of the school, it's still there. Right now at Heathrow, before there was an agent that looked at your passport and let you through. What do they use now? AI. Currently, as we're speaking, in the United States, there are 200 African Americans in jail because AI misidentified them as the culprits of a crime. And sure, eventually through the due process, they get let off. But imagine legal fees, the trauma, the embarrassment of being arrested for possibly a heinous crime because an AI model misidentified you. And this is not a dystopian novel. This is not the Hunger Games. This is today in reality. So those are really key important. So again, I always talk about this, localizing the data, making sure that we are very represented in the data sets is a huge, huge thing that we need to consider.
Wow, that's some very, very deep revelations there. Yeah, so let me come back to you. We've spoken about the ethical considerations. Let's talk about the infrastructural considerations, right? So what do we need? What are the requirements? We want to integrate AI into Ghanaian classrooms. What type of infrastructure do we need? And how can AI-powered learning platforms be made accessible and affordable? So two things, accessible and affordable to everybody, whether you live in Accra or up north or somewhere in the country.
I think that's the hardest part of at least what I do as the chair of the Sector Sales Board is understanding that, because it's pre-tertiary and tertiary, understanding that this curriculum has to work for a child in the poorest part of Ghana and also has to work for the East Legon Airport kid, right? And that's the difficulty. Now, I'm going to be a little bit controversial when I say the first infrastructure is electricity.
Oh, yeah. That's what makes everything happen, right?
The first infrastructure that needs to be working is electricity. Because also you have to understand AI takes up a lot of electricity.
Okay.
This is a conversation we're not having. That the gap, the technological gap that's going to happen is also going to be affected by right? AI takes up more electricity than most tech systems. That's one. Then we go back to your computers or your devices, right, in the classrooms. And so part of what we're designing curriculum is to think, can this, if there isn't a device, can this be taught in a way where kids can pick up, right? And that's very hard, right? But you have to think about that when looking into the design. So what can we teach if I don't want to mention a place so that somebody gets annoyed that I mentioned their area, but you know what I mean. What can we teach that teaches the fundamental skill sets and building blocks so that child has at least the foundations? And sometimes it's not the AI is too far. Sometimes it's the math and science and the logical thinking, so that when maybe if they're out of that environment and they're in secondary school, they're tertiary, we can build on that way of thinking.
Okay.
Because quite frankly, I really do wish we had the answer for, hey, let's flood everybody with tablets. Let's flood it. But it's not something that we can do or we can afford, right, to do. So when we are thinking at least pre-tertiary, we are very, very careful about ensuring that the foundation is the important thing. Your math, your science, your algorithms, your ways of thinking, that's important. That child makes it through to the next level, then we can build up, at least they're in secondary school, where there's a higher likelihood of maybe there might be a computer lab, maybe then you're teaching it. So at least by that time, if a child is good enough to get through to university level, they have the foundational principles. Now, unfortunately, when they enter the classroom, the airport kid versus that kid, there is still an imbalance, but they still have a foundation. So when they say now it's what tool can we apply, what tool can I learn, what tool can I pick up, because the foundation is there. One of the problems is people turn up and they don't even have the foundations. Right? And so we can't even go from there to development. We can't even go from there to design to algorithms.
Because they are math and science.
Their math and science is not. And so electricity, math and science.
so electricity at the base.
Yes.
The devices, they can come along. So electricity important. And then the fundamental knowledge, math, science, logical thinking. And then we build all other things on that. Wonderful. Sorry, listeners. So listening to Edtech Monday, live on the City Breakfast Show. You are watching us live on Facebook, City 97.3 FM, and also on MEST Africa's Facebook page. All right, let me ask everybody. So I've heard from Rashid, I've heard from Ethel. Let me ask Ike, what steps you think Ghana should take? And Joseph, if you're on the line, you can answer that if you can. What steps Ghana should take to ensure equitable access to AI-powered learning technologies across the different socioeconomic groups we have?
Well, I think we've come from far. We need to consider the modern trends. We always, we say Ghanaians or Africans are conservative. It's time that we need to be dynamic a little. We need to look at what is in the news. What are the Western worlds doing right that is working for them? How do we adapt to these things, right? Then secondly, we have a number of AI tools that are available, but then we are not using them. Ghanaians are creating a number of these products that are quite useful, but then for us to use our own, we try to depend on what is being created outside. I always say that we understand the culture of our people, and so our solutions have been tailored to really solve the problems.
They have better content.
Exactly. Yeah. Look at our solution, for instance. Someone may say, oh, it's just a speech-to-text model that you guys are using. But come think of it. A deaf person visits you, or you meet a deaf person, and the first thing that you say you do is, okay, give me pen and paper. This is our culture. This is how we are solving our problem. So how do we digitalize it? How do we modernize it? You understand? So the most important thing for us is product adoption, let's try to use our solutions that we are creating within the system, because it has been tailored to actually solve the problem of our people. And that is the way forward. Because if you produce a product and no one is using it, especially within your, geographical area, then you are out of business and your sustainability plan is very, very poor. So for the users or for all of us, we have to try to use the product that are being produced by our people. And I think it is a step forward.
I see. Thank you. Joseph, if you can hear me, same question to you. What steps should Ghana take to ensure that we have equitable access to AI-powered learning tech across the various socioeconomic groups in the country? Okay, all right, we'll see if we can get Joseph back on. But Rashid, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, what we can do to ensure equitable access to AI-powered learning technology across every group, every part of the country.
I totally agree with Ethel in terms of energy and electricity. I think we cannot jump the gun. We cannot say start using these large AI models when these students have never even used a computer, don't know how to even access the internet. And another issue as well is media literacy and information literacy. This is something that we in the West are facing right now, as we grew up with social media, but we were never told how to absorb the information, back check it, and really do our own research without before consuming that information. That's why fake news is very prominent. Now we're going to see its cousin in AI, as our youth are going to start to use these models and take what it says for Bible. They're not going to have the literacy capacity to do their own research and understand, okay, maybe this isn't right. So I believe that we have to really start at the basics. From my understanding, a lot of the complaints that Ghanaian parents have about the educational system is that it's not practical. It's very theoretical. So if you're teaching children just memorization, A, B, B, they're not going to think for themselves. They're not going to expand their minds to think outside of what is being told to them. We're also a very respectful society. We do not disrespect our elders. We do not question our elders. Even if your grandmother says, put this here, and this is not the right place, to even challenge that is a very big disrespect. So we need to teach our youth and our children that challenging us is healthy. Challenging the way that what we tell you to do in a respectful manner is healthy. And that's going to help us adopt these solutions.
Wonderful. Let me get back to the Zoom. Joseph has joined us. Joseph, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes, I can hear you.
Joseph, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think he can. All right. Joseph, let's talk about AI-powered learning platforms in Ghana and how they can foster entrepreneurship and innovation among students, and to expand how we can use that to bridge the skills gap between education and industry in Ghana.
Oh, thank you very much for raising this pertinent issue. Let me chip in something here. Laptops for students in Ghana. The device lacked any preloaded learning models. Okay, and here are solutions to that. Developing AI models with access to curriculums, learning manuals, past exam questions, test generation capabilities, automatic marking and grading, global certification and verification of exams and authentications. And here are some of the benefits that it can help us move forward. It will also free up teacher time, addresses large class sizes, and then reduce the urban-rural gap. All-powered learning can also reach remote areas, providing equal access to education. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's wrap it up. I'm going to throw a question all around, and I'm sure everybody has their own perspective. Let's talk about partnerships between educational institutions, businesses, and government agencies, and how these partnerships can facilitate a successful implementation of AI-powered learning initiatives. Let me start with you, and then I go around, and then I go to Joseph and Vizu.
Yeah, so partnership is key. I think I had opportunity to be part of 12 startups within the Mastercard Foundation Edtech Fellowship Program. The 2 weeks ago, we were at the Safari resorts. We had a number of stakeholders on board. Now, if we want to grow as a business, we cannot do away with without having partnership with stakeholders.
Okay.
It's very key, because they are the industry players. They really understand the system in which you want to enter, and so we need them. And I think it's a mutual benefit. Whilst we need them, they also need us. You understand? So, what kind of partnerships are we seeking? Is it financial, or maybe technical support? It's not every time that you need financial support. For instance, you want to collaborate with GES. GES will tell you that we don't have the money, but then we can give you the platform. Yes. Look at the structure of GES. Being a partner of your business, it gives you what we call credibility, and you need that to move to the next level. So I think partnership is key if we really want to grow as a business. Yeah.
Wonderful.
For us. And for them to also grow in what they are doing in terms of service provision,
Okay.
they also need to partner us, because there are times that they don't have the engineers or the human resources to actually pursue what they want to pursue. That means they have to leverage on software engineers like us to also develop certain models, AI models, that will help them to move to the next level. Yeah.
Okay. So your take on that? That's practically a key part of what you
Yes.
do.
Yes, I mean,
Partnerships.
imagine that. Just the BEC, there may be 1 or 2 mock exams. I have. It's a long time ago since I read BEC, but you know what I mean. Imagine that all those mock exams, all that data is fed into a system, and that system analyzes the data, and it's telling GES, here is your danger signs, or here's your whatever students, your 10,000 students that are going to write BEC this year, and you have a major problem with understanding this basic concept in science. You have here's where the kids are doing well, here's not. And then GES takes that information and then works with the teachers to ensure that the students, those areas are fixed. Those are the possibilities we have. Now, it's going to have to be private sector, it's going to be government being able to enable private sector to take a look at its data, because the thing government can give us is data, access to data, allowing private businesses to access that data, use that data to then build solutions on top of it, and partner so that those solutions then go into the classroom to work with teachers and support those teachers. Then we actually have a cycle, because then those students come out, they build more things, and we have a cycle. What I said, I said this at the Bank of Ghana 3 event. We're not first movers in AI. We're not going to win because we're not the first movers. What is our advantage? What is the thing that we can bring to the table that separates, that makes us different, that develops? Here's the thing. Africa has the youngest continent, right? The average age is 17. The average age on the continent is 17. So we basically have the workforce of the future.
Yeah.
Right. So we have an opportunity to be able to own. We will not own, they've gone ahead of us, but we will own the skill sets that will build and develop, and we need to make a plan. So that's where I'm coming from.
See, a plan. Great. Rashida.
Absolutely. I'll lead off of that. A plan is key. I mean, what if we're all partnering together, but we all have our own different agendas, our own policies that we're working with? How can we become aligned? If there is a singular system, singular policy and plan that we're all following in our own way and contributing in our own way, then we can all work together towards a common goal, correct? I mean, even, you said we're not the first shakers.
Yeah.
So I love this. We don't have to invent the wheel. The wheel's already there.
Yeah.
We just have to use it. I mean, our brothers and sisters right next door, Nigeria, look at what they're doing. Already today, their law society has an AI framework that all law firms follow. That is very easy for us to do as
Okay.
well. So I believe that once we all have a very similar common goal, that's when we can achieve greatness together.
Wonderful. Joseph, if you can hear me, your take on this partnerships between education institutions, businesses, and government, and how government agencies and how these partnerships can help us successfully implement AI-powered learning.
I think business professionals should collaborate with education institutes or institutions to develop AI system which tailored to Ghanaian context. This will at least ensure these systems effectively prepared students for the workforce with solutions relevant to their curriculum and then the current trend of AI. Also, I think with the government support to develop AI specifically designed for Ghanaian education system and building a backbone of 5G networks and infrastructure for data storage and processing. This one will automatically include supercomputers with access to real-time data capabilities. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Before we wrap it all up, concluding comments, if anybody has any concluding thoughts they want to share. Concluding thoughts, anybody?
Yeah, for me, one thing I'll ask the listeners and those watching us is that just move to the Google Play Store. You type the Deaf Can Talk. The spellings is Deaf, DEAF. It's a one word, CAN, then Talk, TALK, and then just download the Deaf Can Talk app. And perhaps you meet a deaf person, you would like to share ideas with the person. Just activate and communicate with the deaf person. Thank you.
You mentioned that. Let me take concluding thoughts from Esther. Esther,
I
just
think the government should put more effort into AI learning as it would promote education inclusion for all, not individuals, but for all society. Honestly, education in Ghana is not favored to deaf society at all. As compared to Western outside, we are very, very slow and behind in education, and that's very bad. The government should provide enough resources for deaf people, especially deaf children. The curriculum should also be more flexible for deaf people. Like blind people, they don't write science and maths in exams. In deaf community, our English is a bit different. For example, in English we say how you, but in sign language we say how you. That's why most of us fail in exams. Most of us cannot further tertiary education. I believe that with AI learning, it will help us to move next level, equal opportunities for us all.
right. Thank you. Those are a round of applause. Those are very strong, poignant thoughts and bullet points for the government to chew on. Ethel.
I don't know that I can follow. I suppose I only have one plug here. So, as my job as chair of the Success Skills Board, we are always looking for experts to come and help us design curriculum. So I have a preference for 80% of the room being practitioners. People are actually on the field doing the work.
So when you say practitioner, who are you talking about?
So if we're doing computer science, I want developers in the room.
Okay.
I want you understand. I want people who are actually day to day doing that job, sitting in the room, helping us design the curriculum. I want employers sitting in the room so that when we design the curriculum, we know that we are getting the right set of people coming out. And so my appeal is every time I always put out, and if you're following me on news or social platform, we always put out calls for experts. Please take out the time to come and help and support us to ensure that our educational system is up to par.
Great. Rashida?
Yes, please. I will follow up and say that data is king and queen. Okay. And I believe that that's the power we hold, not only in our workforce, but in our data. These companies are coming to Ghana. They want to deploy these AI models on our population, but they need our data to be able to do it effectively. So I believe that if we work together, working an open source system where we all contribute to an AI model, I believe that we can go far. Now think about a future where a person with a visual disability can communicate with someone who is illiterate, who can't, or sorry, that would rather, the context would probably be a person with a hearing disability. If I give you a pen and a paper, but you can't read and write, how can we even communicate? So think about ways that across all ability levels, we can now communicate with each other, grow with each other, and just continue communicating with each other. Absolutely.
Great. Wonderful thoughts all around the table. That's our Edtech Monday for the month of June. Now we are doing it on the 1st of June. Thank you so much. Let me thank my guest, Rashida Musa, AI integration specialist, and she's with the name of the firm, Rayma.
Rayma, please.
Rayma, thank you. Joseph Fabian, ITV, CEO of Cognitive AI Technologies. He joined us via Zoom. We had Ethel Kofi, board chair, Ghana Government ICT Sector Skills. And like she said, if you are a practitioner out there, when you see their posts or you hear their calls, please join them and give some concrete input to the curriculum. I really love that part. Ika J. Mensah is CEO and co-founder of Deaf Can Talk. And Esther Nakofi is a student of the Presbyterian College of Education. She has a hearing challenge and she communicates with us via the Deaf Can Talk app. So if you know somebody with that challenge, download the app, let them use it, and they can communicate with the world. Having that kind of challenge doesn't mean you are not like all of us. You are just like all of us. You have the right to communicate and to interact and to live your life as normally as possible. Thank you so much, my wonderful guests. It's been fun. It's been great talking about AI on a Monday morning. My name is Nathan Kwao. I moderated the session. Many thanks to our very good friends at MasterCard Foundation and at MEST Africa. They brought us, or they partnered to bring us this wonderful conversation we have at the end of every month called Edtech Monday.